Yeah, man. Greetings, Rastafari, Haile Emperor, the King Selassie, the first, the perfect balance, EmpressMenen. This is first man from Rastafari Indigenous Village, recognizing, accepting, promoting Lion Voice. Yes, the voice of Rastafari, speaking about Rastafari, educating Rastafari, preserving, protecting Rastafari. Give thanks.
I,
Yes,
Ras
I.
Tafari, mighty.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Number three is the creation of the economic base. So we're dealing with the economic base in terms of small businesses, creative ecosystems. We got to be earning. And within that earning, we got to be circulating the Rastafari dollar. I'm about to join some Patreons of some other content creators. I'm going to start slowly, but I'm going to join another Patreon because we want to practice what we preach. And just like I asked Adam to support, I have to support the next one. So we're going to be doing that. We'll have some more information on that moving forward. Stay tuned for that. But economics, the economic base, and the emphasis has to be on self-reliance. Um, so as we build this economic base, we need to be thinking futuristic, meaning that we need to start offering scholarships in STEM courses because, like we say, you see how they hack the technology. So that shows that groups that are not liked can be attacked through their technology. All of us have become technology dependent. We also have to have training in our ancient way of life. So the Ras them, the I bird eye and brethren them that went up in the hills, that was of value because they learned to live without the technology. So we need to preserve that as well because if the technology crash or is compromised, we still need to know how to live without the technology. How do we communicate without the technology? You know what I mean? How can we devise methodologies and things that are innovative, that rely on the ancient, preserve the culture? You know what I mean? And these things. So these are things that number three, the creation of an economic base. So you'll hear us talk a lot about economics as a lion pride. And that is why, because to exercise power requires economics.
What do you have to tell the people about Ras Tafari?
Light to the world. The king of kings and the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. And like himself, rich ruler. Hey yo! Yeah, hear them high, hear the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just open them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them come without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill. The lion will come conquer Judah tribe. Go through tribulation, and I strive, see sufferation, and I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come if you tell them in a Toronto, straight at
Housekeeping out of the way, let us get into the 5 things that need to be done. This is the Lion Pride path to victory. All right? And I want the input of the Lion Pride. We're going to craft these so that anyone coming into the Lion Pride, we have a protocol. This is where we're building now community, collectivity. And my Lion Pride on Patreon, feel free to help shape this process because we're creating the pathway. Because again, we don't want to be watching these events in the news and feel passive. We're going to work, come home, burn a spliff, go to work, come home. That you go a dance, you go a stage show. That is not Rastafari in this time. That is called lamb to the slaughter. That is called waiting, mark of the beast. That is called not having situational awareness. And I have to be making preparation. This repatriation, it's the great call, it's the fall of Babylon. All of these things a man sing about and chant about. You think that the word sound wasn't going to manifest? Well, it's manifesting. The power was there. So now is where we are going to find out who is who are the real revolutionaries, you know what I mean, and who were the hobbyists. This is the time we are going to find all of them things out. So I want to have a clear pathway because my thing is not in a theoretical, you know what I mean. Anyone who know I know. I love the mystical, but my thing off a practical because we chat it, you know what I mean, with real life. So we're gonna talk about it, and I want the comments in the comment section, Patreon, if you want to put it there, and we'll shape it, and then we'll finalize it, and this will be our marching orders as the Lion Pride when we step in, everybody on a same energy. So number one step for the Lion Pride is repair self. So it starts internal. This is where Yeshua to I is so important when you're talking about the salvation of the soul, when you're talking about, just going internally. This is where reading the teaching of Yeshua to I so important, and this is why I feel His Majesty taught that a soul without Christ is like a rudderless ship and all of these things. This is why he was saying these utterances, because when you study Yeshua, the Christ consciousness, you know what I mean, which has been spoken of in many cultures across many Iowa, millennia, countless millennia, Iris of the Most High within flesh. You know what I mean? When you look at that chart, Yeshua to I is an exemplar. In terms of those parables, the word. This is how I know that Yeshua is real. Because if you look at the historical record before, and then you look at the word sound he uttered, and then you look at the impact, literally changing iration. We take for granted some of the word sound of Yeshua, or some of the parables, or some of the wise mind, which is really Yeshua was taking the knowledge from the mystery schools of Kemet and Sumar and all of these Asian societies and making it plain for the farmers, using farming analogies, simple, breaking it down. That's how we know, again, that Irids are the Most High to make the hard things plain. But the repair of self, we have a lot of trauma in our community. We have a lot of mental illness in our community. We have a lot of things that prevent us from working together as productive brethren and sistren. So if you see the times and you want to be part of the solution, the first thing to do is work on self. If you have to go get a therapist. And why is therapy important? Because your brethren and your sister don't necessarily need to listen to all of the things that will happen to you, and they're not trained to do that, and you unload that upon them. It's a whole heap of pressure that you put upon them brain. Hire a therapist. These people are trained. You go, you sit down on a couch, you reason your problems them, and you get to think about it. It's not even for them necessarily to suggest things. It's just for their eye to be able to block it out and to, process. And they will ask you questions that help you to process some of these traumas that took place and maybe give you some strategies to deal with it. We need to deal with these things, family, because the trauma response is fight or flight. And what we find is that when we come together to do the work, is either people are broke fight or them take away themselves, which would be the flight. So we need to heal the trauma. So number one is repair self. And I'm advocating therapy, and I'm advocating that we have young people that go into therapy, because we need it from a Rastafari perspective. A lot of our elders were doing this work informally on the campsites, but we don't dwell on campsites like that anymore. So we have to now create the institutions that will facilitate that. Until we have our own institutions, we're advocating ones go and seek. But whatever that looks like to the eye in terms of repair of self, right now, as the world is falling apart, don't panic. Start with the repair of self. Read the autobiography. Read the prophecy, the Bible. Read other books. You know what I mean? Ground yourself in something so that you can hold that discipline as well in terms of your spiritual advancement. You know what I mean? Read different spiritual texts. Ground yourself. Read the selected speeches, most importantly, so you have a anchor that keeps you, upon a practical foundation. Selected speeches, autobiography, critical for this time to stay. We do have the IDOR study group. Big up Universal Development of Rastafari study group, every other strong. It will be taking place actually tonight as this is happening, as this is premiering study group. If ones are interested in becoming a part of that study group, let me know. Send me a comment. Reach out and let the item know how you can become a part of the Universal Development of Rastafari study group. Is study the selected speeches, but that is important. Healing thyself. So that's number one. Number two is we have to repair the family. The building block of a nation is the family. So once you repair self, then brethren, go find a helpmate, sister, and find a king man. Let us get the families them forward together so we can raise strong Rastafari youths, and we can build that base in terms of human resources to do the work that's required. So building self is number one. Two, let us rebuild the family. Number three is the creation of the economic base. So we're dealing with the economic base in terms of small businesses, creative ecosystems. We've got to be earning. And within that earning, we got to be circulating the Rastafari dollar. I'm about to join some Patreons of some other content creators. I'm going to start slowly, but I'm going to join another Patreon because we want to practice what we preach. And just like I asked them to support, I have to support the next one. So we're going to be doing that. We'll have some more information on that moving forward. Stay tuned for that. But economics, the economic base, and the emphasis has to be on self-reliance. So as we build this economic base, we need to be thinking futuristic, meaning that we need to start offering scholarships in STEM courses, because like we say, you see how they hack the technology. So that shows that groups that are not liked can be attacked through their technology. All of us have become technology dependent. We also have to have training in our ancient way of life. So the Ras them, the bird eye and brethren them that went up in the hills, that was of value because they learned to live without the technology. So we need to preserve that as well, because if the technology crash or is compromised, we still need to know how to live without the technology. How do we communicate without the technology? You know what I mean? How can we devise methodologies and things that are innovative, that rely on the ancient, preserve the culture? You know what I mean? And these things. So these are things that, number three, the creation of an economic base. So you'll hear us talk a lot about economics as a lion pride. And that is why, because to exercise power requires economics. We are also looking at certain industries within that economic development, the digital content creation, massive, food and water security, massive, technology, massive. You know what I mean? So these are the areas that we're looking on in terms of strategic investment, construction as well. These are the areas that we're looking at always in terms of the economic development piece, putting that together. All right. So number 4 is a repatriation plan. So within everything, for the Lion Pride, and I know enough of the Lion Pride is already on the continent. So it's going to look, the repatriation plan is in two phases. The phase is training, and then we have reintegration. So for the Lion Pride in Kenya, Uganda, all over, the item have to be preparing. How do you reintegrate with the family that's coming from the West? How can we work with the family in ways that we can even create some economic opportunities for each other, where we can invest the foreign currency on the ground in Africa, and vice versa. So that training in terms of learning the technical skills to go into the industries that I named: construction, um, food and water security, technology, all of these industries that we named before. All of it it's holistic, so there's overlap in all of these things as we're doing. But that's the vision that we have in terms of the Lion Voice Network. And as I've been very clear from the beginning, our vision is to create a production studio on the continent in Ghana. So if you can see what Tyler Perry has done, 50 Cent does, though they build these big studios to create content. We want to build a studio. It probably won't be that big to start, but we want to build a production studio to create content specific for Rastafari, because as we move into the future, we have to be preserving our story, telling our stories, whether that's in the animation form, and that's why we were talking to Haile Culture. We're going to be working on things. You see the brethren artwork, it look like an animation. I have other brethren who do deal with animation, who I'm going to be bringing on the platform, but we need to be dealing with them things there. Blockbuster films, proper documentaries, properly produced content for our future, you know what I mean? But we also need our own servers. We need to own the technology. We need to create our own cell phones. We need our own satellites. We need to make our own solar panels. The technology is crucial. So training, big part of repatriation, and then the reintegration. What are the programs that are going to help us to break down the tribalism and to work with our brethren and sisters who are already on the ground? We cannot minimize reintegration. I'm going to be reasoning with my brethren Bingishan. We did a reasoning. We touched on that. That's coming up. Get ready for that in October. We're fully loaded, family. Just work with us. How many people have seen the Ras Kabinda episode, the legend of Desmond Trotter? Powerful. And Ras Kabinda was even one of the ones who sent me something about the cell phone explosion that inspired I to make this episode, in terms of the importance of self-reliance. So big up Ras Kabinda. Make sure you go over and watch that episode, The Legend of Desmond Trotter. The brethren is a legend. I tell you them. And then, all right, finally, number 5 part of the vision is the Rastafari Global Development Plan. This includes the building of Zion with an emphasis on food, water security, construction, technology, everything that I said, you know what I mean? Because to build the alternative to Babylon, it requires competence. We want to convert all of the slums to garden, urban agriculture, which has become, we come from the diaspora where we saw the ghettos be gentrified. We saw them turn slums into luxury accommodation. So we have that implanted. We can take that home and help our brethren and sisters transform these slums into gardens, because there's no reason that ones can't be growing food in an aesthetically pleasing way, sourcing materials that are natural, that can be preserved, instead of some of them thing and with the right funding, and I can start to go in on the continent, transforming slums to gardens, having our youths them in universities, having our own Rastafari universities, training our youths in technology, in all of these fields, building buildings that would make Wakanda proud, you know what I mean, in terms of Afrofuture, you know what I mean, the Afrofuturistic vision, building that out, what that looks like, the Zion on earth. These are the things that have been tasked to this generation.
Yeah. Set tunes of judgment to judgment. Tunes of the house of the great King David. I shall pray for the peace of Ethiopia. Robber Babylon a spy, Babylon a informer. Have a plan for lock up all the youths them on the corner. Me have a plan for take the youths and move to Ghana. Build up Africa, link up with the farmers. Me a pre-peace more than the Dalai Lama. Can't trick the bingy man, even with Obama. How many youths them lock up for marijuana? How many shut up yo, who cause the drama? I'm a Gideon, spy verse spy, watch and peep and pure lie. TV program tap into Wi-Fi, Snapchat, Instagram, they put drones in the sky. That's why you gotta use your third eye. Hear the Most High, who made the birds them fly. The word, the sound, the powers inside. None of them punk can destroy the tribe, yo. Kendrick Lamar say, don't kill my vibe. Bingy man them down a yard say, earthquake and landslide. Babylon a groom, don't want no bride. Sit up in a room, them a plan and a hide. Babylon cruel, them want fi rule and divide. In a the school, them got the youths hypnotized. Evil and the wicked man, them soon collide. None of them can stop the sweeping tide, yo.